Do Hyuk leaves the KMAA office and sees guild recruiters scouting for new talent in front of the building. He is relieved that he walked past them unnoticed because he is not interested in joining a guild and does not want to offend them when he tells them no. For the time being, he wants to stay under the radar and earn some money. Back at his apartment, Do Hyuk uses his replication spell on the Ort ring. He watches the spell initiate as a blue light envelops the ring and a three-dimensional grid appears. However, the replication instantly fails. The system informs him that the item cannot be replicated because his awaken level is too low. He surmises that he is currently unable to replicate rare grade items. He turns to the other three artifacts and wonders if he can succeed in replicating them. He activates his appraisal skill to review the stats on the items. He sees that the kettle and the fountain pen are normal grade, and the wrestling championship belt is magic. He decides that he will just wear the Ort ring for the time being, and he will replicate the rest of the items for auction on Deus.net. In the last 21 years, countless people around the world have been awakened. Deus.net is an online network that was established for the awakened community. It also serves as a transaction hub, in which artifacts can be purchased and sold through an auction. In Japan, a woman named Ri, a gunner-type awakened, comes across an artifact that is currently being auctioned. She immediately becomes interested in the item because the artifact is a fountain pen, and it boosts wisdom significantly. Apparently, it is not common to find an artifact that is an everyday object. Knowing how difficult it is to raise wisdom points, she begins placing her bid and is determined to acquire it. Meanwhile in Seoul, on the top floor of the White Lotus Guild building, a male-female couple are talking about the recent transactions that occurred on Deus.net. The man's name is In Han Kong and he is the guild master of Korea's #1 guild, White Lotus. The woman's name is Sun Yul Min, and she is the deputy guild master. Sun Yul Min tells In Han Kong that there was an awakened individual who put up two artifacts, a normal and a rare grade, for auction at the same time, suggesting that it is unusual. He asks if the person could have been a merchant. She tells him no because the seller's username is new, and the seller has no sales history. She goes on to say that the username couldn't be a secondary account because an awakened individual's license can only be registered with one account. In Han Kong asks her what she is trying to say. She replies saying that it is suspicious, because it is very difficult to find just even one artifact in all 30 dungeons. She believes that the seller has a hidden talent for finding artifacts. She mentions that the most expensive artifacts are sold at the Deus market in Gangnam, and that poor, lesser-grade items are sold on Deus.net. She says that the fact that a person is selling normal and rare-grade items means that that person is not your ordinary awakened. The guild master begins to fully grasp the situation and instructs Sun Yul to notify their strategy department and find out more about this person. Somewhere in the city, Do Hyuk is at a park doing push-ups to complete a challenge task. As he struggles to push himself up from the ground, he counts 49 and sees he has one more to go. Lying on the ground, and spent after completing 50 push-ups, he is notified of his achievement and is rewarded with experience points. In addition, he reaches level 11 and becomes a Class 2 wizard. Do Hyuk didn't think he could gain experience points in this way. He now thinks it's good to just try everything as if it were a game. He opens his status window to allocate points to his stats. His stats are now distributed the way he wants, having more than half of his points dedicated to magic. Do Hyuk begins to think about how to become stronger, in a way that increases his chances of surviving as a spellcaster. The wizard's signature activation spell and the concentration spell come to his mind. He wants these two skills because they are useful for protecting oneself from attacks from various monsters. In DNF, these skills are essential because spellcasters such as himself are highly targeted by monsters. He knows that the only way to acquire the skills is to practice, so he begins to run. While running, he initiates the concentration spell by drawing a circle with his finger and saying the incantation for armor. However, he fails to activate the spell. The system informs him that he had failed to concentrate on the spell. Expecting that he wouldn't succeed on his first attempt, Do-hyuk tells himself that he will keep trying until it works. After 20 failed attempts, he wonders what the problem is. Meanwhile, a young boy and his friend have been playing in the park. The boy has seen Do-hyuk running earlier and notices him again. He is surprised at how Do-hyuk is still running and becomes distracted when his friend is kicking the ball to him. The ball shoots past him and rolls into the street. Without a second thought, the boy chases after the ball. His friend sees a truck traveling on the road and shouts at him to watch out. Do-hyuk happens to be standing nearby when he hears the shouting. He looks around and sees a boy in the street and an oncoming truck on the road. Do-hyuk immediately jumps and runs to save the boy. He doesn't think he can make it in time because he is still initiating the armor spell as the truck is already seconds away from hitting the boy. Do-hyuk suddenly appears in front of the boy as he activates armor just before the truck crashes into them. The young boy is sitting on the ground as he sees a man in front of him stopping the truck with his body. Shards of glass from the broken windshield fly in the air. Do-hyuk notices he has a cut on his face, and he wonders if the armor was incomplete. Do-hyuk suddenly remembers the boy. He turns around and asks him if he is okay as the boy stares at him speechless. The boy, with sparkle in his eyes, asks him if he is like a superhero, to which Do-hyuk finds nothing to say. Moments later, the system notifies Do-hyuk that he has acquired the activation spell and the concentration spell skills. For 11 seconds, he can cast spells while in motion, and if he does not expend more than 5 physical strength points while casting a spell, he can maintain his concentration on the spell. The boy replies that he is okay and asks Do-hyuk the same question. With a smile, Do-hyuk tells the boy that he is fine and is glad that he is safe and pats the boy on his head. People nearby are talking about the accident, saying that they need to call 911. Do-hyuk places his finger over his lips and tells the boy his name is Do-hyuk Park and that the boy is right, he is a superhero, but he cannot tell anyone. It would be their little secret. The boy's face lights up with excitement and the boy promises not to tell anyone. Do-hyuk tells the boy to be careful of cars next time and quickly leaves before the people gather around the scene. They wonder if Do-hyuk just ran away because he has no reason to flee. A man approaches the boy and asks him if he knows who that guy was. The boy pretends to be clueless and tells the man that he knows nothing and that he didn't get a name. Later that evening, somewhere in the city, Do-hyuk is meeting with a man wearing sunglasses and a black suit. The man is an agent from the auction, and he tells Do-hyuk that the contents of the package have been verified. Another agent appears and opens the package, showing the 2 artifacts that Do-hyuk put up for auction. The man confirms the settlement price of each item, stating that after commission fees, the fountain pen is 1.08 billion won, about 910,000 US dollars, and the belt is 450 million won, about 380,000 US dollars. The man then informs Do-hyuk that they are currently transferring a total of 1.53 billion won, about 1.3 million US dollars, to his account. He instructs Do-hyuk to confirm that he has received the money. Do-hyuk checks his phone and sees a notification from his bank. He opens the app and sees that the money has been transferred to his account. He becomes overjoyed and thinks about how the most amount of money he has ever held in his account was 10 million won, about 8,500 US dollars. The auction agents thank Do-hyuk for his business and inform him that the 2 artifacts will be delivered safely to the buyers, and they leave. Do-hyuk thinks about how much has happened today and then wonders if he should pick up some fried chicken on the way home. The next day, somewhere in the city, a bus arrives at a bus stop, and Do-hyuk steps out of the bus. He stands at the bus stop and tries to remember which bus he needs to take to get to the Awakened Street. He looks at the bus schedule screen and sees that the bus will be arriving in 15 minutes. Suddenly, the ground starts shaking. As the ground continues to shake, Do-hyuk begins to have flashbacks of his last encounter with the goblins. He questions if this is going to be another outbreak. He stays alert and wonders where the dimensional gates will open. A man next to him falls on the ground. Do Hyuk asks him if he is okay, seeing that he is scared. The man shouts while pointing to the sky. Do Hyuk quickly turns to look up and sees that a dimensional gate has opened. Shots are suddenly fired from inside the dimensional gate and Do Hyuk sees arrows coming toward him and dodges them. He notices how the shots were powerful enough for the arrows to penetrate the hard ground. He is thinking this is no ordinary monster. The monster suddenly lands in front of him and Do Hyuk pauses to react. The monster's face and the oddly proportioned body begin to look familiar to him. He also notices the highly crafted weapon the monster is carrying. He then remembers that this is a monster that he used to hunt for fun in DNF. The monster is a gnome.